Okay, just about to get going now. If anyone is on there on the call, Alan, I see you're on there. Mighty Alan Fitzgerald, if you could just pop in the chat box, make sure that you can hear me. Always good to know that Mike is working properly and everything. And a huge welcome to everyone that's on the call tonight. Fantastic. Or anyone else, if you, yep. Thank you, Maria. Really appreciate that. Fantastic, Alan. Good man. All right, well, let's get started. So we started recording and I'll pop that onto the presentation. And can you please just, if possible, Alan, let me know that you can see that presentation is presented as it should be. Can you see that? Anyone? Hello, Margot. It's great to have you. Jarrett. Hello, Jarrett. Coming in from Thailand. G'day, mate. Fantastic. Thank you, Alan. So welcome, everybody. It is my privilege and a pleasure to be representing the Australian AU Diamonds as one of the experts in the house. My name is Justin Phillips, and I'm very honoured to be what we call an ambassador diamond in ASEA. And I've been part of the ASEA movement now since the very beginning, the very launch of ASEA in Australia back in August 2014. And I can honestly say, hand on heart, this is the best thing I've ever done in my life. We have really made a big impact with a lot of people, met some fantastic people along the journey. And tonight is what we call an ASEA Discovery presentation. And it's where I share a little bit about our story and ask you what you want to achieve in your life and what could your story be. Present a little bit about the science of redox, some of the benefits of these incredible products that this amazing company ASEA brings to us, and also a little bit about the distribution model and why you're hearing about it in this particular format. You're not seeing these kind of products on the shelf in a retail pharmacy or a shop like that, but rather the importance of really understanding what you've got your hands on when you've got ASEA products, and also, of course, the business opportunity. And that you need to, to get the most out of this, you need to understand the products, learn how to use them, and hear the stories of people that have used them, and just the exceptional testimonies that exist all over the planet from using these products. Okay, so it really doesn't matter what you're here for, as far as, we have such a wide range of use of these products. Many athletes, professional and amateur and weekend warriors, use the products to increase their performance so that they can perform harder and longer and recover faster. Who wouldn't want that? Even if you're just a busy mum and dad or busy person, busy entrepreneur running your life, having some extra energy at the end of the day is an absolute blessing. Many people come to ASEA because of the health and wellness products are just next level. I really, after 25 years in the health and wellness industry, I still today believe that these redox technology products are the best I've ever seen. So yes, you may have a health challenge, or you may know someone with a health challenge who wants to live younger for longer, right? Who wants to get old fast? No way. We want to really enjoy our lives and the quality of life that we have. And from an anti-aging perspective, this is, again, in my experience, the greatest technology on the planet. And who likes to be more beautiful? Why not? Hey, if you're going to be here, you might as well look good. And the cosmetic benefits of these products is just absolutely mind-blowing. And who wouldn't want more time and money and location freedom, the ability to really have the freedom in your life that very few people get to have enough residual income that it exceeds your lifestyle expenses and gain you that financial freedom and set you up for an amazing retirement. So we'll talk a little bit about some of those facts and figures later on, and hopefully open your mind to the possibilities of what you can achieve through this incredible technology. So I want you to, for just a moment while you're here, is to think about what motivated you, what caught your interest to learn about ASEA. Why are you here today? Okay, and I want you to put your thinking cap on and open your mind and take on some new information and really assess it for its merits, and see just how well this information can provide you a more informative decision as to how you're going to solve your challenges and overcome the obstacles in your life to help you get what you want. So to give you an idea of some of the things that is possible, our ASEA story, I started back in 1994. I was bitten by a tick, and I didn't know it at the time, but that gave me a couple of bacterial infections, multi-systemic bacterial infections that are very dangerous and very, very hard to deal with. And for 20 years, I struggled with these infections. And that drove me into a career of natural medicine and paramedics at pre-hospital healthcare. And I did a whole bunch of things. I learned every therapy and every product, and tried every product and tried every therapy I possibly could. And I worked in the industry for 20 years before I ever heard anything about redox signaling molecules or ASEA. And I had this dream business, a health food shop. I had 7 staff. I had a natural therapies clinic out the back with 11 subcontracted practitioners. You can see there the shelves are covered in product. I had $120,000 worth of product in stock, and I was turning over close to $1 million. I live on beautiful Bribie Island here in southeast Queensland. It's a relatively small community, mainly a retirement community. And this was my dream business. You know, this is what I always wanted to do, was to provide holistic healthcare to the community. And it was very rewarding emotionally, but not financially. And it was extremely hard work. And I had to learn some of the hard lessons of traditional business. So of course, it cost a lot of money, really my life savings and everything I could borrow to actually get into the shop and to get it building up. I was working very long weeks, 80-hour weeks. And then unfortunately, the global financial crisis came along in 2011. And the franchise went into liquidation before I was forced to shut my doors, and that forced me into bankruptcy. And that was my dream business turned to a nightmare. I don't know if you've experienced that, but it's very difficult being an entrepreneur, and it actually seems to be getting harder and harder. And I learned the hard lessons of the overheads of traditional business with staff and shopping centre leases and all sorts of things. And I lost everything from that experience, unfortunately. And it didn't matter how hard I worked, I couldn't save it. The decks were stacked against me. So with that major stress, while I'd been managing this health challenge for 20 years, finally that just, my immune system collapsed, and I started to have a massive health challenge. And I deteriorated for 18 months to the point where my body had constant spasms. I had a lot of neurological symptoms. I'd lost thermoregulation of my arms and legs. I had really like kind of shakes, like Parkinson's kind of style symptoms. I had massive light sensitivity. Many days I had to just live in a dark room. I had huge digestive sensitivities and allergies to all sorts of things. And my body just ached. I had pain everywhere. I had muscle spasms. I had fatigue. And in the end, once it really crossed the blood-brain barrier, I ended up starting to get a lot of really severe mental health conditions. And it was really unpleasant. I'd never had that before. But yeah, I was a very, very sick person. And in mid-2013, I could not get out of bed to feed myself some days. There were many days my wife went to work and she put 2 liters of water next to my bed, and the only place I went was the toilet. I just was in bed all day, and that went on and on for weeks. It was horrible. So not a good prognosis. Broke and bankrupt and dying. So I was very, very grateful when someone interrupted our day and told us about a redox technology that really did change our lives. And what happened was we started to use this technology. I thankfully got a diagnosis. I used integrative medicine, and I was fully well by the end of 2014. By the end of 2013. By mid-2014, we found out about ASEA coming to Australia, and our friends said, hey, do you want to be involved? And this is us just a few years later, water skiing in Disney World at a conference for ASEA. On the right there is Trish Wankler, and Trish Wankler is an incredible woman. She's the highest earner in ASEA today. She earns around $3 million a year in residual income. But you know, I hope for you one day get the opportunity to really get to know her. I've spent a lot of time with her. Even actually had Christmas in a house, and this is before I was involved with ASEA. Actually, it was kind of mind blowing, but a very generous person. And a person that's just really committed to people being their best and helping people. She likes to say that she's a blonde housewife from Boise, Idaho. which is kind of like a country city in America, a sort of country folk, and that she has a PhD, which is a public high school diploma. So she certainly doesn't have medical medical qualifications or anything like that, but she found some products that made a big difference in her life and the life of her family, and she shared them, and she discovered that network marketing was a fantastic business model in order to give her family freedom. She did that for many years in a previous company, is very successful, came to ASEA, and has absolutely been fundamental to the growth of ASEA, and after 10 years has achieved remarkable things. She's been one of my main mentors, and someone like that can really show you just what's possible in sharing fantastic products and making a difference in people's lives. That's my wife in the middle, and on the other side is Sissel from Norway. She's a friend of ours, and you know, we were water skiing in Disney World literally only a few years after being broke and bankrupt and dying. So transformation is absolutely possible, and this industry actually really encourages it, and I think it's the best opportunity for people to radically change their life. So instead of commuting into the city and doing 3 hours of commuting every day, this is closer to our life these days. We live on beautiful Bribie Island. We go for walks with the puppies. We actually, after 2 years in the business, we conceived. We've got a beautiful little 3-year-old now. She's just literally started going to school a couple of days ago. And this was us in the early days. We'd take her everywhere with her, teach her how to do the presentations. This is at someone's kitchen. And I got to be a stay-at-home dad, and Nicole my wife got to be a stay-at-home mum, and really, really remarkable experience that we've had for the last 5 years. And those tiny little kitchen meetings ended up turning into bigger and bigger and bigger meetings. And this is a big meeting in Newstead that we helped organize. And this is us getting a photo with our founder, one of our founders, the amazing Vertus Norton. And this is in Mexico. And this was literally, I think, in February or so of 2015. So we hadn't really been doing ASEA very long. And we won a trip to go to Mexico, all, expenses paid. It was just amazing. This particular resort was over $1,000 US a night, the rack rate, and drinks, food, accommodation, it was all included. It was just amazing. Vertus Norton is an incredible guy. I'm going to bring that conversation back later in the presentation. But this is a man who, for no need for money or recognition, of no reason, no egotistical reason or monetary reason, came out of retirement at the age of 69 in order to get this technology out to humanity. He was wealthy, he was retired, he was happy, but he decided that he really, the mission of getting ASEA to the population was that important. So he went back into business after being retired for many years. So an amazing gentleman, and our very quickly in our career of for the first time, we'd never done network marketing before. We only had one product when we started. It was only the Renew 28. We had no marketing materials. We had to create all of that as we went. We didn't have an upline. We didn't have mentors in Australia or anything like that. Our upline was overseas. But very quickly, in 9 months, around my full-time job and Nicole's full-time transport consultancy business, we were able to generate a 6-figure residual income. And I know there's a lot of people today that are getting close to retirement or are retired, and they don't have an income, anything like that. So, it's really an absolute blessing to have that kind of financial security, and it's absolutely possible with this business model. Staying at home parents, like I said, absolutely blessed parent life, and amazing new friends and community. We have a saying in ASEA about believe, belong, become, and the belonging of the community is really life transforming. And this concept of time and location and money freedom. Yeah, sure, there's many times I have to work, but there are many times I have choice over what I do with my life and my time, and I get to contribute and put my time towards things that I really want to do instead of what I have to do. So that's pretty amazing. Now, I tell you all that because I want you to really seriously consider, what could your story be? What do you want out of your life? And what are you currently working towards? If you're just doing what everyone else is doing, they're just going around in circles. The statistics are that most people do not retire with enough money for them to live the life they want to live. The statistics are most traditional businesses, after 10 years, only 1.6 to 2.2 are actually percent. That's 1.6 to 2.2% of traditional businesses are successful after 10 years. It's if you want to create freedom in your life and choices, you really do need to do something different. And that's what we're talking about tonight. We're talking about doing something very different, but something that's been done before by a lot of people, and people all over the planet are really taking the advantage of this opportunity. So let's talk about the fundamental products, the flagship products that this company was built on. And this is the redox signaling molecule products. So science, not the ASEA company, but science has proven how fundamental that redox signaling molecules are to cellular health. And it's not just human cells, it's any cellular living organism is absolutely reliant on redox signaling. In fact, it's the foundation of the cellular health. And redox signaling molecules are the smallest physical particle of cellular communication. So every single time that our cells need to detect a problem, they need to protect themselves from a problem, they need to repair themselves, or they need to replace themselves, which all our cells have a limited lifetime, and they have to be replaced. And one of the big problems is that when that system fails and we start getting rogue cells or tumors or so forth, or it's just it's not happening fast enough, and we get these old cells that aren't functioning properly. That's a very bad and unhealthy situation for us to be in. So all of these processes of detection, protection, repairing, and replacing, these are regulated by redox signaling molecules. And that's very foundational. Without those mechanisms in place, it really doesn't matter what else you do with your life as far as your health regime, the nutrition you take, the therapy that you get. If your cells are not signaling correctly, nothing else matters. You're going to have a problem. And if you have a health challenge, you're going to have a signaling problem as well. So there's now been 5 Nobel Prizes on the science of redox signaling molecules. But if you still talk to a lot of healthcare professionals, unless they've only been in university the last few years, they really probably don't know what you're talking about when you talk about a redox signaling molecule product. You have to understand that ASEA is cutting edge. It is new technology. It is actually a category creator. So the ASEA products, or the redox signaling molecule products of ASEA, there is nothing like them on the planet. They are the only balanced, bioidentical redox signaling molecule products on the planet. And there's for example, that redox technology started 10 years ago, and there's still no competitors today. So it's pretty extraordinary just how advanced the ASEA company is in its technology, and science is showing how fundamental and how important that technology is. So looking at your kind of pyramid of health, your redox signaling is the foundation, then your cellular health, then your tissue health, then your organ health, your system, and then your whole organism makes you healthy. So we live and die at the cellular level, and the cells live and die at the redox signaling molecule level. So it's kind of pretty key. And what happens is, as we age, redox signaling molecules decrease. It's one of the main things that decreases as we age. So, I kind of joke that many times we've got the closest thing to the fountain of youth in a bottle or a tube, because this is what our body lacks as we get older. It lacks redox signaling molecules. At the age of around 13 to 14, we're looking at about 100% genetic maximum potential of producing redox signaling molecules in our product, in our body. By the time we're 40, we're already down, and this is a healthy 40-year-old, we're already down to about 50% production. And by the time that we are in our 60s and 70s, in a healthy individual, we can be down to 10% production of redox signaling molecules. So you can see that trend it's downhill, and it's downhill very fast. And that's why you get a 40-year-old that does a workout and just does not recover like a 16-year-old. 16-year-olds can run around all day. They can bash himself on the ground, bruise himself, and in a few days they've healed up and no problems. But when you're 40 and above, you realize, hang on, bruises take weeks to heal, not days to heal. And if you have a solid workout, you're going to feel it. And so it's kind of key. What's really interesting about the human body is, if you increase the redox signaling molecules and you increase the cell's ability to signal what they need, then the DNA and the cell can actually do what it used to do when it was younger. So when you increase your redox, it's like your cells heal and perform as though they were younger. We all know when you're younger, you feel better, you got more energy, you heal better, and life is good. So why wouldn't you want some of those benefits? So redox molecules, they regulate every major body system at the cellular level as well. And that actually makes it really easy for a non-medical trained person to help people with these products. You really only have to teach people to drink the liquid and to rub the gel on, and people are going to increase their redox levels, and that's going to help every cell in their body. And a lot of people go, yes, but will it help with X, Y, Z? And unfortunately, we're a little bit trained, and mainstream society is a little bit kind of focused on if this, then that, and you need this particular product or this particular diagnosis or this particular treatment. And that's kind of really losing sight of the big picture and the holistic picture. If your redox is healthy and your cells can signal what they need to do, that helps every type of cell in the body. And in the words of the amazing Dr. Gary Olsemiuson, a medical atomic physicist who worked on the stabilization of these amazing molecules, he says, when people ask him, will it help him, will redox help with X, Y, Z? His answer is, does it involve a cell? Because if that problem, that health problem or challenge, if it involves a cell and you increase the redox, you will help that problem. That's not to make a medical claim, but that is based on the science of redox signaling technology. Okay, so what this amazing company did, they came out with these products, and ASEA is the only company in the world that has a complete cellular health program, because no other company has balanced bioidentical redox signaling molecule products. So from the inside, we have a number of products there, and my apologies, I don't have the omega-3 on there. I'll have to fix that. But there are 4 nutritional products that are they're not for retail in Australia and New Zealand. They are, and some other countries, but they are available, fully available in many countries. And they are some of the best nutritional products, or the best nutritional products that I've come across in my life. And I've literally sold millions of dollars in nutritional products. So they're very, very good. But the nutritional products and the science of nutrition has been around for a long time, right? But this is like the raw materials. These are the building blocks of the cell. The cells need good quality material in order to build healthy cells. But even more importantly, before that, cells need the correct signaling and ample signaling in order to create healthy cells. When you combine the two, that optimizes your genetics and optimizes your potential for health and well-being. So there's also some of the external products, because when your cells operate and function as though they're younger, there's some great anti-aging and some great cosmetic benefits with that. And there was quite a clamoring for people for the ASEA company to provide a cleanser and a moisturizer to go with its external redox products. For example, the Renew 28 was tested by Dermatest, the #1 dermatological testing institute of Europe, based in Germany. And all of the external products, in fact, have the 5-star rating from Dermatest. And some of the results that they found were a decrease of wrinkles by 23% in 28 days using the product twice a day. An increase in elasticity by 20% in 28 days. An increase in skin hydration by 11%. But I want you to understand that the redox technology by itself is not a hydration, it's not a moisturizing product. The reason the skin cells are more hydrated is because it's helping the cell membrane, the skin of the cell, act like it's younger, and therefore the cells are increasing the amount of healthy water retention and mineral retention that they're supposed to, like they did when they're younger. So don't stop using moisturizer when you start using the Renew 28 in the serum. And the Renew Advanced Moisturizer, I love it. You know, everyone's got different so you have to find what's best for you, but I absolutely love it. And also the foaming cleanser, I use that to shave, and I do shave. I do shave regularly. I don't always though, and I'm very blessed that I've got freedom to not have to. And once upon a time, that was not the case. Most of my life, I had to shave as just a part of my uniform or professional attire requirements. These days, I've got a totally very different way of living. I get to, live life on my terms. But I digress. Back to the Renew 28. Some of the other amazing things it does, it increased cell turnover by 16%. It increased skin blood flow by 49% in 15 minutes. And that actually accumulated over 4 days up to 55% when applied twice a day. And so that's a sustained and accumulative effect, which is amazing. Also, the Renew 28, when used in larger amounts over wider areas, like particularly the thighs and so forth, had a reduction of nearly 16% in cellulite when it used over 12 weeks. So some of those statistics are pretty remarkable. And that just goes to show some of the power of the redox technology. When they're all used in conjunction, it's phenomenal what's possible. Now, ASEA is very much a transparent and science-based. They're a very integral company. So if they make a claim, they want to know that it's proven, and it's proven by one of the world's best laboratories. So they spend millions of dollars on research every year. And these are just some of the laboratories that they've used. For example, Bioagilytics there. So every single batch of redox that's produced in the ASEA factory in America, it is certified by Bioagilytics. Now, Bioagilytics is is the world's top active ingredient certification company. They deal with 22 out of the top 25 biotech and pharmaceutical companies. And no one tells ASEA that they have to do that. That's not a regulation. There's no government department. ASEA is just the kind of company that wants to demonstrate that they really have gone to the nth degree to prove that what is in their product is in their product, and their product does what the science and the studies show that it does. Now, there are different regulations in different countries, and some countries can say more about that science than others. In Australia, we really can only talk more about redox science in its own right, and that some of the health benefits of the external products. We really can't talk about the studies that have been done on the internal products. But there's definitely that science has been done, and it is out there, and you can find that at ASEAscience.com. is a great website. So, but what we do know about redox signaling molecules is this is about cell signaling. And if the cells can signal their needs and their wants, like it helps express the DNA better, and the cells are certainly going to be a lot healthier. We're going to maximize our cellular efficiency. We're going to maximize our cellular function. We're going to turn on our genetic activity, and different genetic pathways are going to work a whole lot better. And over the course of our life, that has a very significant impact to the quality of our life. We have ambassadors in the athletic fields. We have gold medal, Olympic level ambassadors, and all sorts of different sports that are really getting massive traction by using this technology as a part of their training regime. We've had professional athletes in Australia, and some of the ones that you see on TV that are paid big bucks have used this technology. Revitalizing and renewing the skin at every level. And, who doesn't want to do that in their bathroom and look at themselves in the mirror and see themselves looking good? And that's going to help people feel better. I think there's a big difference between good looking and looking good. And I think looking good is actually more important than just being blessed by being good looking. When you are feeling well and you're vital and you've got that kind of healthy glow, that is a very attractive thing. And of course, that really has got a lot to do with your quality of life. And it's what people are looking for. There's sick people all over the place. Now, there's a whole lot of experts that are talking about this amazing technology. Dr. Robertson Ward is a functional medicine from the US. He's written this great book called Healthy Cells, Healthy Life. And he was talking about genetics, that 95% of our genes aren't fixed, and what if we could actually influence these? And our genes tell us what to do. So science shows that lifestyle factors and so forth can actually change our genetics And things like, for example, cancer, there are more genes for us to turn cancer off and protect our body against cancer than there are for genes to turn cancer on. So what if we maximize those? How can we change our life and our health statistics as a society? So Australia has the highest rate of cancer and allergies in the world. So how about we start to look at ways to change the way our genetics express itself in and protect ourselves from some of these nasty things. So, and Dr. Ward says he knows of no better resource than supplementing redox molecules if we want to impact this ourselves at a functional level. Big thank you there to Gary White and Valerie Collins, that apparently I've got a distinguished look with the beard. Thank you very much, mate. I hope you enjoy it. So redox technology is working. And I remember when Renew 28 came out, Facebook went crazy with all these before and after photos. Now, Facebook doesn't allow us to do that anymore. Unfortunately, Facebook's highly censored and limits our information that we have access to. I'm not sure if you're aware about that, but if you're relying on social media for accurate information, you are relying on the wrong mechanism. But back in this day, back in 2014, 15, these before and after photos were going all over Facebook. And I've seen I love when people take a photo before they start using the product, and they might have a particular challenge, whether that be loose skin or a scar or redness or acne or whatever it is, and then they do an after photo and even track that, day 1, day 2, or week 1, week 2, and so forth, and see the differences. But you can see the range of improvements is a whole lot of different things. It's pigmentation, it's inflamed skin, it's blotchy skin, it's loose skin, it's wrinkles, it's scarring. It's amazing. And I've sold a lot of products for scarring over the years when I've been in health clinics and so forth. And the reality is I didn't really see amazing results, but I have seen amazing results with Renew 28 and even the serum, actually. And my father-in-law, so many different case studies of benefits in my own family. Right now, my father-in-law's just recovering from a surgery, and he's using the serum all over those scars. It's just phenomenal how that's healing up nicely. Now, thermography and different ways to kind of measure, I really like science like before and afters, and it's great to do blood tests and things. You're starting the product and you want to see some changes, but thermography is a great way too, and this is where they're using scanning to show heat in the body and inflammation in the body, and what can happen when we put redox on some of those areas, and how that the blood flow distribution can change and things like that. It's just amazing. These are some of the athletes. Some of those are gold medal winners there, and yeah, strongest man in the world, and all sorts of different sports. So the validation at searscience.com, there's a SEER Medical Professionals Board, there's a SEER Scientific Advisory Council, and there's a whole bunch of downloads that you can have a look at for some of those studies that were done. One piece of validation, an external validation that a SEER knew nothing about and was very surprised to see, was very pleasantly surprised to see, was the Huffington Post. The Huffington Post came out with an article, and this was back in 2016, and they said that out of the top five emerging technologies in science that will shape our lives in the future, they put redox signaling technology at number 4. And yeah, that was pretty amazing. The Huffington Post has got a lot of clout in America. Now, I want to be sure that people understand that we're not making any medical claims here. SEER Renew 28 is not intended to prevent, diagnose, treat, or cure, or any disease or medical condition. It is a health benefit product, and this is a new science. And what I do encourage people to do is to give it a go and play with it. If you're committed to your health and well-being, and you've had a conversation with someone that said, hey, this redox technology could really make a difference to you, go back and have a good solid conversation around redox and the various products that ASEA provides, and just see how that could fit into your health regime, and hopefully provide the kind of transformation that I had as well. I didn't mention that my wife had a fatigue issue of 25 years, and we were spending a lot of money on that. We were spending up to $1,000 a month to just manage her fatigue issue. And only 3 weeks after using 60 mils twice a day of the ASEA liquid, that fatigue issue got a lot better. And we were actually able to let go of the $1,000 worth of therapy and different products, and just on $200 a month actually had a far better outcome. So, you know, I've seen many cases where people have been financially better off for using redox technology than using other forms of treatment and therapy as well. Okay, so setting correct expectations is important. So I'm not saying this is a silver bullet. I am saying it's the greatest health science technology that I know of. But it's, as with anything, if you don't use it correctly and if your expectations are off, you can be disappointed. And I would always prefer to over deliver and under promise and over deliver. You'll always have people that are happy. If you over promise and you under deliver, you'll always disappoint people. So it's kind of a good principle to be in when you're trying to help people, is to make sure they really understand what they got their hands on and to use it correctly. And in 2014, I really didn't know a lot about redox signaling technology. So I started interviewing healthcare professionals from America who had 4 or 5 years experience of using the technology back then. And what they told me was, based on the liquid, that only 10% of people saw a positive result in the first week, and only 50% saw a positive result in the first month. But 90% of people saw a positive shift in their health in 90 days. And so what that says to me is, if I only give a week's supply to a person, like for example, I give them 1 bottle to just try it, I'm setting them up for a 90% failure rate if they think that that 1 bottle is going to make the difference. Only 10% of people are going to actually see a positive shift from that. Now, it's great that some do, but it's a bugger so many don't. So I really encourage people to be wise in the way you share it. And if I'd rather do the education and help people understand just how the mechanism of this works, and you know, whether this is really of value to them or aligned with their values of their health challenge or whatever it is they're dealing with, and use it properly and not damage the brand and not disappoint people. The other thing is, the older people are and the more health compromised they are, the more they need. The other thing is to use it regularly and use it correctly. The number of people that I've come across that are using the redox molecules and they're putting it in orange juice or whatever, and they're diluting it, they're wasting their money. You know, it's a real shame when people are doing that. Also, hydration is absolutely key. If people are not hydrated correctly, and they need a little bit more when they're going to be going through a bit of a detox and they're using this cellular health technology, do that. Make sure you educate your people so that you get the best results from them possible. Yeah, help them, set them up for success with the correct expectations. I always encourage people to do a 90-day trial as the best way to move forward. So looking at affordability and availability, affordability and value, when you look at the skincare technology, the redox and so forth, yeah, it's very good value when you compare it to a lot of the very high-end and expensive products that are on the market there for skin, for beauty and cosmetics. And remembering that none of these products have got balanced redox signaling molecules in them, and without cell signaling correctly, nothing else matters. You know, so for true beauty comes from within. It's when the cells are the healthiest they can be, and that relies on correct cell signaling, which is the redox. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about how this all came about, the genesis, the beginning of ASEA. And I mentioned about the wonderful Virtus Norton before, and his equally incredible son, Tyler Norton. And these guys were you know, they were geniuses, really. Virtus was the top third man in Kraft Foods. He was a vice president of strategy. Kraft was just about a $40 billion company at this point. And Virtus had this is when he retired at the age of 56. He had a fantastic corporate career through doing things differently, through strategic planning and changing the way businesses work, using strategy in order to greatly improve corporate outcomes and corporate efficiency. And so he developed this program, and even after he retired, he taught it to his son, Tyler. Tyler, at the time of discovering ASEA, or the redox technology, Tyler was highly successful as a chief financial officer of a over 100-year-old financial company. He was like kind of living his dreams and was doing great in life. His father had been retired for a number of years, for over 13 years at this point. But they were doing this consulting process for different corporations and helping them. And they came across this company that was having a lot of trouble because they'd actually put a lot of money into drug development and so forth, but they'd found this redox technology, but they weren't able to proceed with it as a drug per se, and they'd put millions and millions of dollars into it, and they were in really dire financial position. And so these guys actually realized what the product was, or what the technology was, and the potential of that. Now, they were able to buy the rights and buy the technology and all the patents, and further develop it. And they stabilized the technology to a balanced bioidentical redox single molecule product, and they therefore give it a shelf life and a portability and so forth, and do what many people thought were impossible. There were 4 pharmaceutical companies around the world at that time that had likewise put millions of dollars into this kind of technology, but had declared it impossible to do. But with the help of the amazing Dr. Gary Elsemussen, medical atomic physicist, they were able to stabilize it, and therefore they were able to create these products. Now, they wanted to get this out to the populace, and they as you do when you're in corporate, you go through mainstream distribution channels, and they approached a pharmaceutical company to do that. At the same time, they were sampling and giving free product out to a bunch of people, friends, family, church members, people in the community. No one's paying for the product. No one's paying to share the product. And in just a couple of months, about 40 odd people that they started with turned to 120 plus in a whole bunch of countries, because the product was getting such phenomenal results for people. And so this was all going on while they were sort of talking to this pharmaceutical company. The company flew 4 people over on a jet. They looked at all the science, and they said, look, we'll offer you enough money that you won't ever talk to anyone else again. That was close to $1 billion that they were offering to buy the technology. But the deal was that if they took that money, that they had to stop giving the product to all the people, and that no one was going to have access to that. And both Vertus and Tyler knew that out of those people that were getting this free product, there were some very sick people. In fact, there were 6 of them that were told to go home and get their affairs in order. There was nothing more that could be done for them. Now, 6 years later, out of those 6 people, 5 of them are still alive. And the one that passed away actually passed away due to complications of their original treatment. You know, so they were seeing some radical improvements, but they were given an ultimatum, basically. Take the money and run and forget about the people, or turn down the offer. And you've got to remember, these guys were already very wealthy in their own right, but they had found a technology that had really significantly impacted their lives and the lives of many other people. And thank God, and I'm so grateful that these guys said no to the money, that they had the integrity that is really quite extraordinary in today's society, where they said no to the big bucks and yes to the people. And that actually meant that came with a lot of challenges, because they had never built a network marketing company. They knew that that was actually the best channel for distribution, not just because word of mouth marketing is so effective, but also because of regulatory issues. And, you know, people really need to hear the stories and relate to what this technology can do for people in order to really, believe and take on a 90-day trial of using the product correctly and so forth. So they started a network marketing company with no experience in that industry. Now, being a strategist, Vertus knew that word of mouth was still the most effective type of marketing, but there are other issues too, and it's the way the economy is changing. This is amazing. Mel Robbins, she's got a book called The 5-Second Rule. I highly encourage people to read that. It's, if you're making a decision about doing something, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and do it, or you're probably not going to do it if you don't do it in that time. But we really are in an enormous region of the economy around the world, and direct sales and stay-at-home small businesses are really coming to the forefront with the utilization of technology as well. And there are great world thought leaders that are showing that this is a fantastic business model. And, you know, great people, Donald Trump, Robert Kiyosaki, Richard Branson, Paul Zane Pilsner, who was the youngest CEO or president of Citibank, which is one of the largest banks in the world. And he was also advisor to 2 political campaigns or 2 political American presidencies in economic matters. people like that are saying that network marketing is clearly the best method, the best model we have today of getting new products and services out to the public. And that's what Virtus could see, that vision. So for 10 years, he worked very hard to do that, and he created this phenomenal organization that we know of as ASEA today. Now, here's some interesting statistics that many people don't realize. If you look at a sample list of professions that are earning around $10,000 plus a month in the US, and you're looking there, you can see that diamond levels in network marketing, and diamond levels are very, very important level and a very significant stage in the career of a network marketer. And it definitely takes some work to get there. But the income level compared to other professions is extraordinary, and you do not require a degree and the expense of a degree and a huge amount of career experience in order to do that. So my wife and I, with no previous experience in network marketing, and on one product, Renew 28, that was the only product we had in Australia without an upline in Australia and no marketing materials. We had to create all of that as well and learn how to do the business. We were able to become diamonds in just 14 months. And that was while we had full-time jobs. So, you know, it really is doable. Also, the other thing is to have residual income. All these professions only get paid when they're working. They stop working, they stop getting paid. And that's not the case in a good network marketing company, something like ASEA. When you look at residual income, you know, many people are really struggling to set themselves up for retirement. And I think the statistics are 95% of Australians are actually retiring with less money than they expected. Retiring with some sort of government assistance. So either they're on a pension or they've got pension discounts or something like that, and they rely on that. I think 4% are retired on less money than they plan to, and only 1% of Australians, and this is pretty much true for New Zealand and America and the UK and Canada as well, only approximately 1% of the population are actually retiring with the amount of money that they expected to. Okay, so that's not a very good strike rate for being financially successful in what are supposed to be the golden years of life, right? But when you look at, you know, in order to get a monthly income, you have to get a very good return rate on a heck of a lot of money in order to earn, you know, some pretty good lifestyle benefits. So, you know, 6%, you're working your money relatively hard in order to get that, and you need a good amount of capital. Remember, I said that I was broke and bankrupt and dying when I started my redox journey. Within 18 months, we were sort of hitting equivalent incomes to $5 million in the bank, and there was no way I could get $5 million. So it's pretty cool what is possible. Now, for me, it's very important as to who I'm doing business with that there is an extraordinary amount of integrity, and they've got the runs on the board. And when you look at ASEA and what they've achieved, they really are an exceptional company with their success and their ethos and their strategic planning and so forth. They've been profitable since 9 months of operating. They've been very, very successful. They have zero long-term debt. They own their manufacturing and their administration plants. They've got exceptional protection on their technology. They're now in 33 countries around the world. They've got 18 distribution centers. The last couple of years have been about a 50% growth. It is phenomenal. But even more important is the attitude of our founders. And there's Tyler Norton at a convention saying, at the end of the day, it's people that matter most. And if you ever get the opportunity to do his Ethos Academy, and there's one coming up at the Envision conference in Australia in just a few weeks on the Friday afternoon, he really goes into depth about a lot of personal development and principles of living a good life, and particularly P over E, you know, having people and principles over ego and economics. So make sure you get yourself to that event. It's absolutely mind-blowing. Now, this is the official income disclosure statement from last year, and these are real figures that people were earning at these various ranks in Australian dollars. So not bad. There's been a bunch of people that have been in the $1 Million Club as well. So I hope all of that information really informs you to make a better educated decision on what you want to do with your life. And my question is what could your story be? How do you want to live your life, and what legacy do you want to leave this world? For me, I certainly have saved more lives and helped more people in just a few short years of doing distributing these incredible ASEA products than the previous 20 years of my life. And even as a paramedic, yes, I saved some lives and I did some great work, but I actually consider the work I've done in ASEA to be far more impactful in people's lives, both in health and wellness and in prosperity, and also personal development and helping people live a fulfilling life. I just cannot think of anything better to be doing with my life to really be positively impacting people. All right, so where do you see yourself? From here, you can go back to the people that invited you along to tonight, and you can, if this is your first exposure, you can purchase some products, and you can do that purely as a customer. ASEA's got some great money back guarantees as well if you just want to try the products and you're cautious. But if you can see the vision and you want to help other people, then by all means you can look at becoming a sharer and have a part-time business or so forth. Or if you really want to go hell for leather like I did and become an entrepreneur and truly have a lifestyle freedom that very, very few people ever get to experience. And enjoy the benefits of prosperity. In the great words of Buckminster Fuller, if you solve the money problem, all the other problems of life become much easier to solve. And these were the parting words of our wonderful Vertus Norton at retirement. He said, we're all at the start of something great and with big purpose, with great purpose. And right now is the moment that we begin influencing the future. We can change the world. It doesn't matter what's happened in the past. It doesn't matter where you've come from or what kind of education, creed, color, part of the world you're from. Right now, with this information, you have the power to radically make an improvement in the world and in your life and the life of others through the vehicle of ASEA. And we invite you to come and join the amazing ASEA family. Okay, so that's my presentation for tonight. I hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you very much. I can see a few comments in there. Thank you so much, Jarrett. Really appreciate that. Thank you, Muriel. Can you change slower, please? Oh, I'm sorry, Muriel. The good news is that these are actually recorded. So you can actually go to Redox Diamonds, redoxdiamonds.com, and there's a YouTube, so you can actually see these videos that we've done on these presentations. So I'm just going to stop the recording, and then I will stick around for a few Q&As.